Hello everyone, this is BBEnk, and today I'm going to show how to do my universal build in portrait mode. It's really not that much difference, but it still seems to confuse some people. So I'm going to build an endless sort of runner here using the universal build, and I need to change this to iPad portrait. I always build everything in iPad. And you can use resolution independence or not. It doesn't matter for this. It won't affect anything either way. And let's just go to the scenes. And the first scene is just going to be my intro. I always use an intro scene to set everything up. So let's just do that. And we'll make two integers right quick. Hopefully GameSolid will run good today. I'm using the new stable version. What am I using? 12 point... No, that's my Mac. 13.7 beta. This is the stable one. And we're going to do cam size. And offset. Offset Y instead of X in portrait. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to put a Y. You could just leave offset. It makes no difference. I just put Y in there for whatever I'm doing. Do it again. I like to use capital. Okay, so now we need to make an actor. We're just going to call it cam size. And I'm going to drag it over to the scene here. I'm going to make it kind of small. And need to open it up because we need to get to the scene size, or we need to get to the scene attributes. So I need two constraints and one change attribute, and I use constraints on these two to set up the game cam size because I want to make sure that it does happen. So for this, we just need to go to device, screen, size, and this time we want height. And you're going to times that by the width of 768, and then you're going to divide that by width. And that's that. And then we're going to go to game, offset. The offset is just the difference between the iPad size of 1024 and whatever the new camera size will be. For instance, if it adjusted for an iPhone 5 device, the iPad has a resolution of 1024 by 768, and the iPhone 5 has a resolution of 1136 by 640, I believe. So it would actually get a little bigger. It'd be like 1365 by 768 or something like that. So we need to know that difference in the height of 1365 minus 1024. So we're just going to say game offset Y is nothing more than game cam size minus 1024. And 1024 is whatever you actually built this on. And then the next thing we need to do is we're going to change the camera on the intro here. So we go to current scene this time, your actual game camera, size, and height. And we're going to change that to game cam size. And then I'm going to put a little display text in here so you can see it working. I'll put my little logo, BBEnk. And I want it to center itself, so I want it to go to game cam size divided by 2, and I just did that backwards because I'm going for height. That should be 384. You know what, that should be 384. I forgot I was in portrait mode because it's going up, right? So it's going to be game cam size divided by 2, and that'll always be the center, half of the camera size, right? Change that to scene, And if we run this now, it will actually put that in the middle on the iPad. If we change it to iPhone 5 portrait, make that 100%. Remember to use stretch. It's off now, but if you hit reset, it's right back in the center. iPhone 6, it's back in the center. Doesn't matter what you select as long as it's portrait. Kindle Fire, it's still centered. You can't really see everything, but that's all it does. It puts it in the center. Cam size half. So now the attribute here that actually changes the camera, I'm going to do a quick copy on that. Now I am. I'm going to copy that, and now I'm going to go to home, see, and I'm going to make a new scene, and this will be the first game scene. And for here, we're just going to build a little sort of an endless runner thing. But first of all, I'm going to drag my cam back in here again. Make it small. I'm going to open it up. Open up the instant here. And then I'm going to paste that rule. And that's it. So now, this will adjust the camera on the next scene. Because we now have two scenes. And they will both set up properly. And I can't really show that right now because it won't show anything, but I do need to go back to the first scene because I need to add one thing. Otherwise this will do nothing. Change scene to the next scene. That way when we run this, it changed so quickly you couldn't even see it right. Let me put a timer in there. Run to completion after 5 seconds. Run. There's the name, and then it will go to the next scene, which you just be black. And that's it. So now let's go here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up. So basically it's ready now. So I'll be start setting the game up. And I made a little image for this. And I'm going to take this road here. And I'm going to drag it up here as an actor. And this is nothing but, it's going to be like a road. It's a line in the middle for passing and all that. First thing I want to do is the size of it needs to be bigger. So I'm going to put it in the middle for now. 384, 512. The width is 768. And the height is going to be 2048 because I want it twice as big now. I'll explain that in a minute. And then I'm going to use vertical. It's going to be tiled. And then I'm going to make the tile height, the original height, which was 512. So now when we drag it on the screen, you can see it's got the extra line. So it looks like we got a road. And it's halfway on. I guess I could put it at 768. It wouldn't matter really. Or 1024, I mean. That doesn't make a difference really. It just lines it up better. And you can see the center is right here. And it's twice its height. So now we want it to move. And I'm just going to use a linear velocity minus 500. And if we switch screens, it should move. And there it goes. But it's going to disappear, which is fine. We'll fix that with the rule. So attribute rows position y is equal to or less than 0. We're going to change its position. Road position y back to game cam size. And we needed to go back to game cam size because we wanted to loop over and over to the correct height. Because if we only use 512, it wouldn't work properly when you change the scene. Matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and show that. So let's say we made it 1024, which is the normal iPad cam size. I can't talk. Okay. You can see that works perfect, no problem there. It's just looping over and over. It comes down. Matter of fact, let's put a little something in there so you can see what it's doing. That's the center. And there's the center, and you'll see it loops back up, and it just flips over and over. But if we change to iPhone 5 portrait, use stretch, and you see it all stretches out, but we reset it. And now there's a problem. You can see it's missing. That's why you need to make sure it always goes back to the proper cam size. So we can take this to cam size, which is whatever size, device is playing. And at this point, cam size didn't change. It's still just 1024. So that works. You put portrait. What did I just do? My clicker's off. 100%. Portrait. Stretch. Now reset. Now it goes all the way to where it's supposed to go. See, the center hits the bottom and goes back to the top, but it's still not right because the image is not big enough. So whenever you're building your graphics, you got to keep that in mind too when you're trying to build a universal game. The graphics have to fit, but that's easy fix on here. So we can just change the road size height to game cam size divided by 2. And that'll make this much, not divided by 2, make that times 2, because we want it twice as big, just like it was before, because it's already twice as big. But now we need it to be iPhone 5 size or whatever, which would be twice the cam size. So now if we run it again, I should have made that 2 seconds. And you'll see that actually works just fine. And we change it to iPhone 5 portrait, go to stretch, stretched out, reset. And there you go. But you notice one little thing there. It's got a little glitch in it. And the reason it has the little glitch, you see, is because the tile is only 512 by 384, or actually 768 in this case. So it's got that glitch, and that's fine for the iPad because it's 1024 by 768, so it's even. But on the iPhone 5, it's not even. It's 1136 in height. So we need to fix that too, and that's pretty easy too. And doing this, even though I use the universal so I don't have to use stretch and stretch my graphics out, sometimes you might need to do it just a little bit just to make things look right. And it's not that bad. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go to graphics, tile height, and we're going to change that to game cam size divided by 2, and that'll keep it. Right now, if you see, the tile height is 512, which is half of the iPad size. So what we want to do is always go with half of the cam size. That way the tile will always have the correct height and it will fit properly, or it won't have the glitch in it. See, the iPad size is good, no glitching. Change it to iPhone 5 portrait, stretch it, and see, you can tell it's stretched out, especially if you see the C. If you reset it, it's no longer stretched, and it moves perfectly smooth, no more glitch. It may look jumpy on your screen, but that's because I'm running ScreenFlow too, probably. My computer can only do so much at once. So that's basically all you'd have to do to do a portrait endless runner, because that'll just keep going, and you can change that to iPhone 6 portrait, and it'll do the same thing. It won't hurt nothing. Still, let's see, Kindle Fire. Be nice if you could see the whole screen actually. You can kind of see it up here. And that's really it. I mean, there's not much more to do. I'm going to take that display text out. Now if you wanted to, you know, have cars on there or whatever, you could easily do that. Let's make this a car. Let's see. I don't need a position. Height, width. I'm going to say 75, 125 maybe. It's going to be a blue car. And then we can, you know, you can drag it on the screen. So I'm going to put it a little higher actually. Oh, one thing I want to do is change the screen so I have more room to work. There we go. And I'll put the car up here. And one thing to keep in mind too when you're placing objects that you're going to bring in, whether you're spawning them, is that most cameras won't, I don't think any of the cameras I've checked have ever gone higher than 1400 by 768. It's usually about 1366. So let me make a little line here to show what I'm talking about. So I'm going to put X at, I'm going to say 1024. Well, that's 384, of course. Width of 768 and a height of 3. And I'm just going to drag this over. Oop. I'm going to put that on the screen. And that line is not where I wanted it. Oh. No, I just did it backwards again. 384 by 1024. I keep doing that. I'm used to working in landscape. Okay. Alright, so the line should be right there. And then I'm going to put a second line in here too. And I'm going to put this one at 1400 and 384. So you got a line there and there. So if I run this, I can't run it from there because I got to run it from the beginning. So it sets everything up. Now you can barely see the line right there, 1 pixel, and that's 1024. So if we change this to iPhone 5 Portrait, stretch, reset, and there's 1024, but you can't see the other line yet, so it didn't go as high, but you can see everything still runs smooth on the camera wise. I don't think anything will actually make it that height. This is pretty much the same. Yep, and that fits. Let's see. Nope. I couldn't see up there anyway. But you can still see where the 1024. So basically what you're looking at from here to here, this is 1024 by 768. And the camera was adjusted to take advantage of the Nook's extra size. So it had to get a little bigger. So that's what you need to keep in mind when if you're building stuff. So if we take our car, as long as it's above this line, it should never show up. So I'm just going to tell it to move down. Let's see, minus 600. No, minus 500. Or is that too fast? It don't matter. Let's see what. And there's our car. And let's make our car. We'll create a rule, attribute. Car position wise, less than, minus, the height is 150. Let's say 80. I'm going to change it. Position Y to car or game size plus 100. That way it always goes back to above the camera. And let's change it a Y position to, X position to a random. Let's say 768. I did it again. You always have to start it so that the intro starts, because that's where everything sets up at. Yeah, and they should keep coming. Unless, of course, I did something wrong. Then they won't keep coming. So what did I do? Y, the camera size plus 1. Oh. Equals 2 or less than. Of course, you could add random speeds to them too. And that's basically will just keep happening. Let's get them. So they don't bump into each other, maybe. And why do I keep doing that? And that's it. And then you can just have another car and you can try to dodge them. Now the thing to remember too is that when you're building a portrait, if you have controls, and let's give these a different color. Let's make it work. So if you have controls at the bottom of the screen, and that's the beach ball of death. Let's see. So if we had a control here, say left and right, and we have one here. Well, when you're building in portrait, unlike landscape, normally in landscape mode, if you had a control over here, you'd have to take it, use the offset to change it. But in portrait mode, it doesn't change. The only thing that's happening is that the screen gets taller. So your controls will never move. Once they're placed, you're good. The only thing you'd have to think about is if you had, say, a score or a pause button or something like that on the screen. So I'm going to put this, let's just say, right there in the middle. And I'm going to make it invisible. Position. I'm going to put the position at 384, let's say 900. I'll fix that in a minute. Display text. Score. Make it a little bigger, 48. And I want this to be at 384. Game cam size. No. I want this to move from its current position of Y plus game offset. And we're going to do the full offset because I want it to move all the way up. Scene. That's it. You know, I stuck that on a scene like a regular score, a custom text, but we can do it two ways here. So the score's right there, but I'm going to move it over here just to show you. So now if we run this, now score's at 900, the controls don't have to do anything. And if we change it to portrait, 100% stretch, notice everything's stretched out here, but when we reset it, there it is. Everything's right. Controls are still at the bottom, and the score moved up because the score was right here. Remember, that's 1024. So we took advantage of offset, and now it's higher up. So you just have to remember that anything above, really above 512, you might want to move up. And sometimes you might want to move some things around here, but things usually in the corner, like controls and stuff, can stay in the corners. You don't need any extra code for that. And it's now, if you were using a score, let's say you had a custom score, and this was actually, I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to make this bright. You can't, or you know what, I don't have to make it bright. I can do it two ways. We'll make another display text, score again, but this one here is just, I'm just going to leave it at 0, 0, so it actually shows up on the screen. Relative, well, you know what, I gotta move the, I'm feeling I need to remake this video because I keep forgetting stuff. Okay, there it is. Now I'm gonna put it back at the center, 384, size is fine. Now I'm gonna run it. So now that actor is at 384 by 900, and it's correct, as you can see. But if we go into portrait, 100% stretch, see, it's still in the same place. It didn't move up, and that's because we didn't have the offset on it. So we'll go back to actors, score, and for this, because it's just displaying score relative to wherever the actor is on the screen, which is here, we need to put in change attribute. And this is where you would do if you were using a custom, you know, a score text, you know, something that you made. So you could just put score position Y, or change attribute score position Y to score position Y plus offset. It's the same thing that you did above. Same thing that you did right here, except you're just using a change attribute to make sure that it shows up in the right spot. It just depends on how you're displaying your text, whether you're doing it with the actual text function, or if you're going to do it using display text with an actor, or if it's an actual actor that just says score. And that's right. And if we go to portrait, boy, it'd be nice if these would save. And there you go. See, it went to the right spot. And you would do the same thing with menu buttons and all that. You know, if you had another scene that had menu, like, you know, start and all that, you would do the same thing. But in portrait mode, you probably don't got to change anything unless it's above 512, like the title of your game and stuff like that. So this is really simple. And remember, the only thing we've done so far is added two attributes to track our size. We have a cam size, which we drag onto the scene, and on the first scene, which sets everything up, we just added our attribute in for cam size. We change it to this, game screen size height times 768 divided by screen size width. And then that actually sets up cam size. It checks the actual devices. That's what's happening there. And then offset is just getting the size between the new cam size and the old cam size. And then you use this to actually set your scene up. This is what adjusts the camera on your actual device, or when you're playing it, to the cam size. And then you just copy this, or you can type it again, either way. Then you on every other scene, you drop in another actor, unlocked, and put that in there, and it adjusts the camera. So if we added another scene to this game, so if I went in here and added one more scene, the only thing I need to do is drag cam size over and open it up. I bet I don't have that in there no more, do I? Oh yeah, it's still there. Drop that in, copy and paste it, and you're done. And you can do that over and over.